Hi, welcome to Heart of Avocado. My name is Tapasia, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my vegan and cruelty-free makeup collection. So I have this bin from Target and all of my makeup fits in here. So I'm going to go category by category. So let's start off with primers. So the first primer I have is this e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer. This is not a bad primer. I think it gets the job done. It kind of looks like this. It's very smoothing and it has a pretty grippy feel to it, and it definitely feels hydrating as well. It gets the job done. Not much else to say there. I'm not particularly impressed by it, but it gets the job done. The next primer I have is this Perlice Silk Grow BB Base Primer. I'm not sure if I'm saying the brand right, but this is a small sample, and I bought like this sample bundle from Mercari, and this was one of the products included in it, and I honestly love this primer. This is a tinted primer, and it has a very smooth velvety finish. And personally, I find this to be even more hydrating than the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer. So this is definitely my favorite primer at the moment. So next, let's delve into my foundations. So the first foundation I have is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Foundation. And this is a powder foundation, and it's in the shade Medium 30. And I bought the Bare Minerals Beautiful Finish Brush to go along with this foundation. I saw this video on YouTube. I don't remember who it was by, but if I find it, I'll link it in the description box below. And the lady was basically just talking about how you're actually supposed to use a powder foundation and how you're really supposed to like buff it out, and it kind of turns into like a creamy texture, and that's how you get a great finish that doesn't look powdery or cakey with a powder foundation. And I honestly found that it really works for me, even though I would say I have skin that kind of leans to the drier side. Using it with a proper buffing brush and really making sure you're doing your skincare well before you put on your foundation, it makes a huge difference and it really works out. I would say that this is my fancy occasion foundation that I kind of reserve for special occasions. So that's my main foundation. The next product I have in this category is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. This has been a very fun discovery for me. I'm gonna be honest, the first few times I applied it, I wasn't too impressed. I mean, it was a really new look for me to have my face all glowing and looking like Edward Cullen. But after the first couple of times, I just started to fall in love with it. So I would say this is definitely one of my favorite products at the moment. I have this in the shade 4 medium. It comes with this super thick applicator, which is really squishy. And this is kind of what it looks like. I saw a lot of people online mention the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation and what a wonderful finish it had. And I'd never tried a satin finish foundation before. So I decided to pick up this e.l.f. foundation, and this is in the shade 300 Sand for neutral undertones. And I believe this is only like $6 if I'm not mistaken. And I think for the price, this is a wonderful foundation. Love this and definitely recommend. And then something that I just picked up in the last week is this NYX Bear With Me Blur Foundation. This is in the shade 9, light medium. And I've only tried this 2 times, but I think it's a great foundation. So far, I really like it. No complaints. The next thing I have is this Say Glowy Super Gel in the shade Sun Glow. I've only tried this 2 times, and so far I'm not really a fan. I really don't like the feeling it leaves behind when you put it on your skin. It's a little bit tacky, and I don't really know how to describe it. I just don't really like the feeling of it. I think I'm going to give it a shot one more time, and if I don't like it, I'm going to pass it on to someone else who might enjoy it. But for now, I have this, but it is a strong maybe from me. So next up, I have a concealer, and concealers should probably be their own category, but I only have one, so I'm going to lump it in along with my foundations, especially because more often than not, all I use on my face is a concealer. This is the Bare Minerals Original Liquid Mineral Concealer, and this one is in the shade medium/tan 3.5N. This is a very thin, liquidy formula. I like how it works to conceal things on your face like spots and such, but it's not so great for the under eye region. I am on the hunt for a good vegan and cruelty-free concealer for my under eye region, but for now this is what I have and what I'm using. Next up, let's move on to blushes. So I'm going to start off with my absolute favorite blush. So after I came out of my makeup hibernation in these past 6 months, one of the brands that I discovered was Merit, and I am honestly in love with this brand. I love the packaging. It is so simple, minimalistic, and elegant, and I adore how creamy and blendable the formulas are. I'm the kind of person that's really into like a natural look when it comes to makeup for the most part. So Merit is a brand that's right up my alley. All the makeup is super subtle and it's very blendable and it looks very natural and elegant. So starting off with this blush, this is the Merit Flush Bomb in the shade Beverly Hills. This was one of the first blushes I bought after replacing all of my old makeup, and I love this shade so much. It goes on so smoothly and it is just such a beautiful color. Sticking to Merit blushes, next up I have another Merit Flush Bomb in the shade Mood. This one is a bit darker and more of a burgundy color. It looks more red on camera, but in person it's a little bit more burgundy and dark, which you can probably tell from this. Next up, let's move to all my e.l.f. blushes. So first off, I have the e.l.f. Putty Blush, and this one is in the shade Caribbean. These are really hard to use up. There's a lot of product in here and it's super pigmented. So one fun way that I found to use this is to use this kind of how Rare Beauty recommends you use their blushes, where you put a super pigmented layer of blush on your face and then you use a foundation, or better yet, a liquid filter like this Halo Glow filter from e.l.f. on top, and it just looks so beautiful. It truly looks like it's just like a natural blush from within. So that's one fun way that I found to use this specific blush. Next up I have this powder blush from e.l.f. in the shade, I don't think it says what shade it is, but it's like the peachy one. This is super sparkly and this is just such a beautiful peachy glow. I really like this one and I find myself using this one quite often. Next I have this guy up here, and I'm pretty sure these are dupes of the Charlotte Berry wands. I'm not sure what they're called, but I bought this because I tried the wands at Sephora and they were so nice and so smooth. So when I saw this at e.l.f., I knew I had to grab it. And in my opinion, these are not exactly like the Charlotte Tilbury ones. I mean, they come close in terms of the fact that it's a wand and it has the same kind of applicator on top, but it really dries down quickly and it's not as creamy and smooth as the Charlotte Tilbury one. At least that's my impression from the few times that I've tried it at Sephora. However, this is a beautiful blush. It is super metallic and shiny. You do have to work really quickly with this if you want to blend it out well, but it's definitely a beautiful blush. Finally, I have this monochromatic multi-stick by e.l.f. and this is in the shade Dazzling Peony. To be quite honest, I don't see myself buying this ever again. I mean, the shade is okay, but my main problem with this is that it's marketed as a multi-stick and you're supposed to be able to use it all over your face as a blush, as an eyeshadow, as a lip color. If you do use this on your eyelid as an eyeshadow, it really creases on your eyelid. But as a formula, this is not a bad blush or anything, and it is super smooth. I just don't see myself purchasing it again. My next category is contours, bronzers, and highlighters. Starting off with contours, I have the Halo Glow Beauty Wand contour. and this is in the shade medium/tan. To be quite honest, not a fan of this. The shade itself is okay, but again, like the blush one, it just dries down way too quickly. It really doesn't give you enough time to blend it out, or maybe I just don't have the right brush. I don't know, but I don't think I will be buying this again. My search for the perfect contour will continue after I'm done with this. Next up, I have my Merit Bronze Balm in the shade Leo. Again, the packaging is so elegant, and this is what it looks like. Super smooth formula. Definitely something I will repurchase in the future. I am absolutely obsessed with highlighters. My makeup look never feels complete unless there's some highlighter on my face. So first off, I have another Merit product. I would honestly buy the entire line if I could, but this is the Merit Day Glow in the shade Kava. This is what it looks like. And it just gives you such a beautiful highlight. Finally, we have a Rare Beauty highlighter, and this one is in the shade Exhilarate. This is the perfect highlighter if you want to look like a vampire from Twilight. It gives you such a beautiful Edward Cullen glow. Look at that sparkliness. The second I tried it on, I was in love with how sparkly it looked, and I had to add it to my collection. So that is it for contours, bronzers, and highlighters. With that, let's move on to my favorite category of all time, and that is lip products. Everyone has like that one category that is absolutely essential for them when it comes to makeup, and for me, that category is lipsticks and lip glosses. And you can probably tell by the disproportionate amount of lip products I have compared to everything else. So let's delve right into that. I am going to start off with my favorite lipsticks. I discovered these years ago at Daiso Japan, and they're only like $1.50 each. They're by the brand Clean Color. But then they stopped carrying them eventually, but you can still buy them on their website. They're only like $1 a piece, which is incredibly cheap. But what I love about these lipsticks is that they are the creamiest, most beautiful lipsticks I have ever used personally. And for $1, you just can't go wrong. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer here. The company is supposed to be cruelty-free, but all their products are not vegan. So I did email them asking them whether or not their lipsticks were vegan or not, and they said that some shades were and some shades weren't. They didn't really have a list to provide telling me which lipsticks in particular had non-vegan products or not, so I just decided to buy my favorite shades and see which ones out of them were vegan for the future. So I bought 2 of my favorite shades, and I bought 1 shade to just try out for fun, and luckily, as it would happen, the only non-vegan shade was the new one I'd bought to try out, which was this 704 Mocha Cream shade. But my favorite shades, which are 758 Grape, my absolute favorite in first position, and 711 Nutmeg, these luckily turned out to be vegan. The non-vegan ingredient that is in this lipstick is beeswax, and these 2 don't have it. So I will not be purchasing this shade again for sure. But these are my absolute favorites, and luckily they're vegan and cruelty-free, so I will be purchasing them again. Next, let's talk about Merit again. This is the Merit Lip Oil in the shade Marrakesh. This is my absolute favorite lip product right now. This is a lip oil. Merit calls it a Shade Slick Tinted Lip Oil. These are super sheer, and I think the formula just makes your lips look really nice. So this is one of my favorite products at the moment. And to go along with it is something that is not so much of a favorite product at the moment, and that is this Merit lipstick. And that is in the shade L'Avenue. This is their signature lip. So pros are, of course, the packaging. Like, I don't think I've seen more elegant packaging for lipstick on the market. As far as I'm concerned, this is absolutely beautiful, but I'm biased towards minimalistic and elegant looking designs. As far as the shade and the formula goes, I'm still kind of in the experimental phase when it comes to this lipstick. It's definitely a nice color. I'm just not so sure if it's well suited to my lips. I have super dry lips, and I feel like this kind of makes all the cracks and stuff stick out on my lips. And I'm not sure if this formula is hydrating enough for me personally, but we'll find out. This is still something I'm experimenting with. Next up, I have these two lip oils by Ilia. I have the shade Linger, which is this pink shade, and then I have this color Saint, which is more of an orange/red color. So pros for this, super pigmented. Let me show you. I'm going to start off with the shade Linger. I don't even have space, but as you can see, it is super pigmented. And then I have this shade, which is Saint. So you can already see, like, compared to the Marrakesh here, this is so sheer, it's more like glossy, versus these ones are super pigmented. I do like these, but I find myself reaching for the Merit lip oil more, but definitely a super nice creamy and pigmented formula if you're into that. Next up, I have this lip gloss by CoverGirl in the shade Exhibitionist, and I've had this for a long time. This is one of the products that I did not throw out when I was getting rid of all of my old makeup, just because I love the color so much. This is just your basic pink lip gloss, and I find this formula to be super nice. As you can see, I kind of lean more towards sheer formulas as compared to like more pigmented formulas, and now that I'm putting this on my hand, it actually looks really similar to Merit's formula. Then I have this Super 8 lip oil by Yensa, and it looks kind of gross right now because I put this on top of my lipstick, so it's kind of contaminated with the color, but it is supposed to be a clear lip oil. I really like this. I find myself reaching for this pretty much anytime I wear a lipstick these days. Finally, I have this NYX Shine Loud lip gloss. I'm not sure if it's a lip gloss or like a liquid lipstick. I got this along with this foundation the other day, and I think this is in the shade Go Getter, or Goal Getter, not Go Getter. So for pros, the pro is that the color is just absolutely beautiful, and like I mentioned before, I have super dry lips, and this just makes my lips look incredible. As another pro, it's transfer proof, so you have like the lip color on one side, and then you have like this clear gloss thing that you put over it after the lip color dries, and it makes it completely transfer proof. And I've never owned a transfer proof lipstick or lip gloss before, so I found that to be super cool. But the downside is that the one time I tried it, it kind of made my lips feel really weird afterwards. But I'm really hoping that it was just a one-time thing, because I absolutely love the way this made my lips look. So that is pretty much it for my lip products. Next up, let's talk about powders. The first one I have is this e.l.f. HD powder. It's super bright white. And then the second powder I have is the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. And this one is more of like a pinkish color. I don't really have too much to say about these. The only thing I would say is that this one gives a very bright finish versus this one gives a very skin-like finish that just blends in but removes the shine. So they both have their own unique uses. Sometimes this one goes better with my look, other times this one complements my look more. So no complaints here. I love both of these equally. Now before we get to my eyeshadow palettes, let's talk about mascaras. I have two mascaras. The first one is the CoverGirl Full Lash Bloom, and the second one is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I feel like the name is really fitting for this one. This one gives you like really soft, curled lashes, whereas the Better Than Sex mascara kind of gives you those really exaggerated curled lashes that look really, really big. Both of them complement different looks. Sometimes I reach for this one, sometimes I reach for this one. No complaints, but if I had to pick a favorite, I would probably go with the CoverGirl Full Lash Bloom, just because I'm more into like natural makeup looks. I have this little pocket mirror here. Now it's time to talk about eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to start off with my absolute favorite discovery, and that is the Too Faced Born This Way The Natural Nudes eyeshadow palette. This palette is absolutely beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, the thing that attracted me to it the most was just this pattern of a square and a rectangle and just alternating. I think it looks so unique and cool. But the second thing I loved about it was the shades. They're so beautiful. You have one matte shade for each color, and then you have a glittery shade to go along with it. And I'm not going to lie, these are absolutely beautiful in my opinion. This is like the perfect nudes palette as far as I'm concerned. So prior to this, something I had in my old makeup collection was this e.l.f. Mad for Matte Nude Mood eyeshadow palette. Kind of a tongue twister there, but the Nude Mood eyeshadow palette. And I decided to not throw this away because even though I love this palette, I feel like if I was doing like a smoky eye, I might need like a few more shades to really make the look come together. And this one just has a bunch of different shades. When it comes to the formula, the e.l.f. eyeshadows are kind of more gritty in my opinion, whereas the Too Faced eyeshadows are butter smooth. So this is just being reserved as a supplement to this palette. My only other palette apart from that is this Blue Velvet palette by ColourPop. And I bought this because when Taylor Swift's 1989 album was about to come out, I saw so many creators online doing 1989 inspired eyeshadow looks, usually done with a bunch of blue shades, and I was inspired to try to recreate some of those eyeshadow looks at home. So I went out and I looked for a palette that had blue shades, and I found this at Target. These are such beautiful shades. It has 3 super glittery shades, 2 lightly glittery shades, and then it has like these 4 matte shades, and these are just wonderful to create any blue look. Honestly, a big fan of this palette here. The final thing I have in the eyeshadow category is these loose eyeshadow powders by the brand Bella Pierre Cosmetics, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I bought these when I was in high school in my senior year. So I'm 29 now. I bought these when I was 17. So they are a good 12 years old. And I don't know why, but every time I try to toss these, I just can't do it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like some sort of sentimental attachment that I'm not being able to figure out or what's going on, but I just can't bear to part with them. So I think one of these days I'm just gonna make some slime and color my slimes with these eyeshadows. But for now, I'm keeping them. One is a purple, one is like a bronze, and then I have like this navy blue color. So that is pretty much it for my eyeshadows. The last thing I have left in my collection is my setting spray. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. No complaints here. I have the smaller size and I think it's gonna take me a long time to finish it up. You might have noticed that a lot of the products I have are in the smaller sizes, like even this mascara is a travel size. For one, since makeup expires so quickly, I think it's better to buy small sizes so it can be used up quickly. 2, it allows you to experiment more without wasting too much product. So I do try to buy travel sizes when I can. Apart from that, I have this little pencil case, and in it I have a bunch of lip pencils, eye pencils, and my eyelash curler, as well as a sharpener. Most of the stuff in here is probably not vegan. Like, I've had this Sephora pencil since I was in high school again. When it comes to pencils, I have no problems using super old products because it's a pencil. It's being sharpened and new product is emerging each time, so it's not like it's being contaminated. So I'm personally comfortable using old products when it comes to pencils and stuff, and a lot of these are quite old, which means that they're probably not cruelty-free or vegan. When all of these are gone, I will replace them with the vegan cruelty-free versions. But that's all I have to say on that. And I have this adorable charm by the Coffee Monsters koan here. Then in this case here, I just have all my makeup brushes. And in this little thing, I have my beauty blender. And that is pretty much a wrap on my entire makeup collection. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. As always, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I love to hear your guys' opinions and feedback and your own experiences in the comments section. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this from me in the future. I hope you have a lovely day and I will catch you in the next one.